What up, Fluxers? Welcome to Coffee Talks 4.
Wow, 4 already.
4. Today's episode is going to be about our goals and some efficient ways to accomplish them. But before we get into it, I just want to say thank you guys for all the positive feedback that we've gotten. We deeply appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. A lot of killer feedback.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I have notifications on. Probably turn those off. Before we push forward on that, I would like to let you guys know today is a little different. What Padre Havoc has in front of him is some stuff from his previous days of his life's work on this exact subject. It is basically full of useful information that he's going to be sharing with you throughout this whole thing.
Well, this is a culmination of 38 years of experience in teaching, goal setting, change, adult learning model, why we do these things. How do we accomplish them?
And in front of me is a journal of sorts. I'm going to give you guys some more backstory on this journal a little later. But for me, this is basically my version of that from what I've learned from a non-professional standpoint. So what you're going to be seeing as we go is kind of comparing notes from a professional, from someone who just learned it as I went, from the professional, funny enough. So we'll see how it lines up as we go through. But without further ado, we are going to get into this. This is a no BS podcast. And we are just very excited to get this one, man.
Oh, man, I'm stoked for this one.
Yeah, this is your specialty. So how do we go about accomplishing our goals, Padre Havoc?
Well, you know, the first thing we got to look at is, why do we want to set a goal?
Right.
As adults, we are hesitant to change, man. Change is a scary thing. At some point, whether it be from an outside source, whether it be you actually looking at yourself, you go, you know what? I do need to make a change. So
this is pre-goal stage.
Right. This is well before you actually set goals. You have to have a why. You have to have a reason for it. So you move from pre-contemplation into contemplation. You're contemplating. Do I need to make this change? Would this change benefit me? How would my life be different if I made this change? I'm going to use weight loss and fitness as an example several times during this video. Not that the video is specifically about weight loss, right, or appearance.
Now, we will have that stuff on the channel, but that's not what today is about.
I mean, this can apply to every aspect of your life. In the future, we're going to be hitting a big one on addiction and recovery, and this will play a huge role, but I'm not going to get into that part today. So, you know, maybe some outside sources say, I'd like you to become healthier.
All right.
Maybe you could lose some weight. And as a resistant person, I'm in pre-contemplation going, but I'm happy the way I am. But then I go into contemplation and I go, okay, you know what? There is some validity, not only from the outside source, but I actually see within myself that, you know, maybe I do need to make a change.
Okay, so you identified.
So identify that that a change needs to be made.
All right.
From contemplation, the next step is preparation. Now, preparation has to do the beginning of your goal setting. Okay, so if I'm going to go into preparation, I go, okay, now I realize that there could be some benefit to me losing some weight, getting in better shape.
So now you're weighing out the options and the benefits.
I'm looking at my why. Why do I want to do this? And as a logical human being, I go, yeah, you know, I've talked for years about being in shape. I look at people that are morbidly obese and go, how did they let themselves get that way? I mean, there are just a plethora of things that you look at throughout your life. So how do we prepare start setting a goal?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing I do. I write it down.
Okay. And I think that's awesome because writing a goal down makes it a reality.
Absolutely. It objectifies it to something that you can't look away from. It is now on paper.
And I would also say share your goal with someone else.
A form of accountability.
Exactly. If I set a goal and I write it down, I'm only accountable to myself. If I share that goal with somebody, I'm not necessarily accountable to them, but they're going to be interested in my result.
For sure. And I'd say if you share your goal with somebody, make damn sure you're pretty real about that goal, because personally, I have fallen into a rut before where I have set out to accomplish the goals and I've made it to this step that we're on right now. And I gain accountability buddies, but I've done it enough times on goals that I wasn't so serious about. Now, when I say it, it doesn't mean as much and people don't really give a shit. If you're going to get
you're that guy that sets
buddies,
out unrealistic expectations, way too many, way too often.
Yeah, so if you preach it too much without the practice, your accountability buddies aren't exactly gonna live up to their purpose either, because you're not following your end.
Right.
And I've been
You're the
guilty
boy
of
that cried
before.
wolf a million times.
Yeah.
That's what you become. So the planning phase. Now, there are so many things and so much that go into the planning phase.
For sure.
And a lot of things people do not realize. Okay, so say, again, we're going to use weight loss or fitness. I plan to lose weight and get in better shape. So what do I know about that?
Well, depends on who you are, but let's say you don't know much.
Well, I think I know quite a bit. I mean, throughout my life, I've been in the gym. I've lifted a few weights or two in my time. I think I know quite a bit, okay? So I look at it and I go, okay, I know that exercise is important if I want to do these things. I know that diet is going to be important if I want to do these things. I know that consistency is going to be important if I do these things. So as you start to write down your plan and your planning phase, you write down the things you know.
Things you know. And the other great part about the world we live in today, the knowledge at your fingertips.
And this is very critical. And I didn't learn this one until much later in life. You know only what you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
So a critical step in this planning phase isn't just writing down a plan of things you know, but looking very hard at what don't I know.
For sure, that makes a lot of sense.
And as you start to formulate your plan, I'm going to hit real quick, because we're in the planning phase of the stages of change. Okay, that's where we're at. We're the planning phases. Now, the adult learning model, if you want to know about your learning process, how you learn, why you learn, how do you create a habit, how does something become cognitively ingrained within you to make that change? As you formulate your plan, you need to look at a few steps. 7 principles of adult learning, man. I'm just going to hit on it.
Alrighty.
It's called miss out. And it's beautiful because if you don't follow all the steps, you're going to miss out on what you could actually accomplish. Number 1, motivation. What is your motivation to do it? Are you motivated to do it because other people have been on your ass? Or are you motivated to do it because you really want it? That's huge. The other thing that we look at in the planning phase, as you start writing down these plans, your plan may not be perfect yet. Your plan may not be complete yet because you don't know what you don't know.
I don't know.
But you need to make immediate application. Immediate application. You've got to start.
Now, let me ask you, what does that look like?
Okay, so if I want to start getting in shape and lose weight, and I'm starting to plan that phase, I can't just write down ideas and continue with the behaviors that I've always done.
Right.
I have to immediately apply what I'm starting to formulate.
So if I can, let me make an example and you tell me if it's up to par. So your goal is to lose weight and you've looked into some ways how to go about that. So maybe an immediate action is done enough research to know that a lot of Americans get a shit ton of calories from drinking other liquids besides water. So maybe an immediate action or an immediate plan even to start your journey
An initial
on that,
part of your immediate plan.
drink more water.
Exactly. You immediately start practicing small steps, baby steps. Maybe you start doing a few push-ups when you get out of bed, a few sit-ups, because you know that some exercise is good. Now, you haven't developed your full plan yet. But
Baby
once
steps.
you've got your motivation, you need to immediately start applying what you're developing. From there, stimulus, man. So as we look at stimulus, adults are stimulated through all five senses.
Smell, taste, touch,
Sight
sight.
and hearing. So your stimulus, you've got to make it exciting. You've got to be able to see what you're doing, taste what you're doing. You know, if you start drinking a lot of water instead of Coke, you're going to taste the difference.
Yeah.
You may start hearing the difference from people noticing, man, your habits are changing. You're going to see the difference because you're looking at what you're doing. I mean, the stimulus, okay?
Eh,
As you start moving through this, because you've applied immediate action, the next thing you're looking at is for successful experiences.
Oh, that one's huge.
Okay, so let's say that I'm just starting. I'm still formulating my plan. I'm utilizing what I know while researching what I don't know to try to throw this plan into action. But I have started drinking water instead of Coke every day. I have started eating more chicken and vegetables.
So like 5 gum, your senses are being stimulated.
So whether I see physical results, I'm seeing immediate successes because I'm completing these small goals that I've set out.
Right. And even on an emotional level of these small victories, I'll even call them small victories.
They are.
You start getting that feeling of success. So we're talking step 4, successful experiences. Success can even be a feeling.
Well, that's it. You know what? I have maintained drinking water every day. I've maintained eating healthier every day. I've maintained getting out of bed and doing 5 push-ups and 5 sit-ups every day. These are successful experiences.
Right.
Step 5 is ownership. Now you've got to start owning this process. This is my process, and I want to continue planning and perfecting my process, but I have to take ownership in it. I can't depend on you to remind me to drink water every day. I can't depend on anybody else to tell me, oh, you're doing well, or you're doing. I have to own what I'm doing.
Right. For better or for worse, you have to own everything, really.
And then I have to start utilizing all of the information that I'm coming up with. I have to start adding to my plan the things that I'm discovering. Too much too soon can lead to failure.
So you want to avoid burnout during these stages.
Right. I may start by just drinking water, eating healthier, a few push-ups, a few sit-ups. But then my plan starts telling me, okay, start counting calories. Right. How many carbs are you eating? The more I'm learning, the more I'm delving into it. But I have to take ownership of it. And the last step of adult learning is transfer. Transfer is an interesting one.
Yeah, because I'm actually a little lost on that one. So this is complete news to me.
Transfer is about relating past experiences to what you're going through now. Now I'm going to give you an example of transfer that's outside the weight loss realm.
Okay.
Years ago, I went to Pueblo, Colorado to a 11-day, totally immersive Spanish for law enforcement course.
Okay.
Okay. First rule, no English.
From the get-go?
Within the first hour. No English. But part of this was writing down every Spanish word you know.
From your past experiences.
From past experiences. Okay. You know, you get a lot of funky answers. Taco, burrito, enchilada. Those are Spanish words, are they not?
If you've watched my gaming channel, you know damn well I consider those Spanish words.
Hola. Gracias.
Fiesta.
Siesta. You find out that you actually know a lot more than you think you know. You start transferring some of these past experiences as successes. And you transfer other things you've done, other successes you've had into your program. This is how we become open-minded, and we open our mind to learn new things. You don't even know what you don't know. But I would actually venture to say you don't even know what you do know.
Yeah, and we're live with this right now. My mind is even blown. This is some good shit. Okay. Yeah, I've never even thought that far into it before.
So the adult learning process takes 7 steps. Again, miss out. Motivation, immediate application, stimulus, successful experiences, ownership, utilization, and transfer. To me, transfer was the biggest one.
See, that is a really big one, and the funny part is when you mentioned it, not to toot my own horn, but as smart as I think I am, I was lost when you first said it, and now it makes 100% sense.
To actually make a goal or a behavior a habit, 2,000 repetitions.
2,000 repetitions to create a habit.
To create a habit.
Now, is there a time frame on that you know of?
There is no time frame, but let me explain something really interesting to you. Let's say that your goal is to wake up at 8 o'clock every morning. Okay, to do that 2,000 times would take you how many years?
Take you a while.
6, 7 years to do that every time. The human brain, the adult brain, cannot differentiate your subliminal thought process from reality. If you sat in your bed every night and envisioned yourself, visualized yourself waking up at 8 o'clock every morning, that counts as a repetition.
In your subconscious.
Because your mind sees it as a repetition. Let's say you have a failure. Well, replay it in your mind and envision how what you would have changed to make that successful. Visualize it in your mind, play it forward 5 or 6 times. All of a sudden, your mind envisions a success. And it takes you right back to successful experiences.
Well, and to even push forward on the science behind that, one thing cool that I just thought about as we're having this conversation. In my youth, I was into mixed martial arts. And one of our main practices...
Dude was a stud, I'm going to tell you now.
He's hyping me
I
up.
have video. I've got evidence.
One of the things that was really important for us to do in mixed martial arts class, and even in other classes that I've heard of, are things called katas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what a kata is you go through repetition over and over again in a formation, acting as if you were fighting multiple people with blocks, punches, and you would run these every single day, and we would learn new katas. The idea behind this was to practice that repetition in fighting, so if you ever get into a real situation, you have these formations in your mind, and you learn these so quick. To this day, I don't even know how long ago that was. It's been a long time. I can do one of those katas right now, if you ask me to.
Because as we talk, the adult learning process is about ingraining something into your cognitive brain.
We're talking about motivation, discipline, habits. One of the things that I had written down here is that motivation and discipline are great. They are great tools, but they are not the answer.
I agree.
They're tools.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they tools for? Habits. Habits are one of the easiest things to create out of those 3.
Whether they be good or bad.
Good or bad. So in order to create motivation, you have to work up the feeling of motivation. You have to be motivated. Sometimes
you have to own it.
And it's very hard to motivate yourself at times. I've had struggles motivating myself multiple times. It's not something I can rely on. Mm-hmm. It can happen, but keyword can happen.
Right.
It's not always guaranteed. Discipline is something you can practice, but you will fail at discipline from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things...
There are going to be setbacks.
Yeah, the thing that lets you down the least, I find, is habits. So what you do is you take your motivation, you take your discipline, you create these habits, and the habits will serve you way better in the long run than relying on these things that can be up and down, where habits, if created correctly, can stay pretty stagnant. And once you get rolling on that, it creates this kind of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important to ride these momentum waves. When you have momentum in your goals, in your discipline, your habits, your motivation, any of them, ride that wave out. Let it play through. Do not stop when you have momentum.
I agree.
Yeah, you absolutely do not stop.
And there are a plethora of things that are going to try to stand in the way of your momentum. And realistically, you're your own biggest enemy when it comes to this. You're feeling good, and I can relax now.
Yep. Big mistake.
Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Ride the momentum. Continue the habit.
And once you're riding that momentum, sometimes it's going to go down on its own. You can only roll fast for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And when it does ride down, the thing you need to keep in mind after riding the momentum is sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
So momentum can make you work harder at things that you've sustained. But once that momentum is down, keep up with the things you have sustained.
Right. You may not always be moving 100% forward, but never move backwards.
Fucking still.
I know.
All right, guys. We had taken a little break. We're back, though. And we had left off with some really good stuff. One of the things we had said before we left off, though, was the importance of steps forward.
Exactly.
In my little nifty journal here, I had mentioned that one step backward is not the end of your journey to your goal. One step backward in comparison to multiple steps forward is not a reason to give up on your goal.
I'm going to show you a bad example here, man. So on Monday, today's Thursday, on Monday, I set a goal to lose 20 pounds by Friday. Now, I didn't tell Flux about this. I didn't tell anybody else about it. So, you know, I mean, I'm going to motivate myself. I'm going to take some immediate application. So Monday, I started drinking a lot of water. I know that's good for me. And Monday night, I ate a salad. Kind of stayed away from some of the other stuff. Tuesday, drank a lot of water, ate a salad. Wednesday rolls around. Well, hell, I've been doing great for 2 days. I deserved a reward. So have myself some lasagna, nice Mexican lasagna. Stepped on the scale this morning and I've gained 4 pounds. So my synopsis of this is diet and exercise don't work. Dude, I ate salad for 2 days. I went out and mowed the lawn for an hour and I gained 4 pounds. And so I'm going to kind of give up on that goal. So if we review this little story, man, first of all, 20 pounds in 5 days, is that realistic?
No, absolutely not realistic.
Not sharing the goal with anybody else and just trying to take personal accountability. Not going to work, man. Nobody notices what I'm doing. Eating salad 2 nights in a row, drinking water, and then eating lasagna as a reward. Where's the successful experiences here other than, man, I drank water and mowed the lawn?
Yeah.
Obviously, goal failed.
Repetition failed.
Repetition failed. Accountability failed. Realistic goal setting failed. This would be a poor example. And this is where a lot of people wind up, unfortunately.
The funny part about this example, not only is it the wrong thing to do, quite frankly, it's the exact opposite thing to do. When we're talking about steps forward, in that situation, he had only done, on a technicality, without the repetition, I'd count that as 1 step forward.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 1 step forward, and then lounged and ate lasagna, probably more than he should have. That's a step backwards.
Considering mowing the lawn 1 time in 3 days is cardiovascular activity.
Yeah, that's a step backwards, false assumptions. We have multiple steps backwards. I'd put some tallies there. We got 1 step forward, drinking some water and eating a salad, and that's not even a step. That's a portion of a step because it was not done over a period of time.
Exactly.
So we're being generous giving it 1 step forward. That's being generous. Plenty of steps back. So when you look at that many steps back, 1 step forward, what happened? Nothing.
Well, failed goal. And you give
Failed
up
goal.
and you look at it and you go, well, I'm done trying.
Now, what if you were to reverse these numbers? Reverse these tallies. You did 1, 2, 3, 4 steps forward, 1 step back.
I'm going to see some success.
You're going to see some success. Okay, so you have the 4 steps forward. You take that 1 step back. It's not over. You did not ruin everything.
That's right.
You did not ruin everything at all.
You don't have to be perfect. You have to be consistent. And 1 minor setback does not end the world. We talked about it in a previous thing. Are you going to let 5 minutes of misery ruin the entire day?
Right.
It applies right here. Are you going to let a minor setback ruin your entire plan?
But it helps to see the perspective of these tallies. and rotating them around, what really is the significance of that one tally versus the 4 or 5 more that you have on the positive side?
Exactly. I'm going to throw transference in this as well, and I'm going to kick this back over to Flux because he's got a little story about trying to get in shape and some of the steps he took and some simple things that he did that I thought were really amazing, man.
Oh, yeah. So when it comes to goals, and my goal at the time, fitness being the thing, we're talking about writing it down, which I did. We talked about getting sustainable goals, which I did. We started small, we built up. And one of the funny things about starting small in any goal, whether it be fitness, repairing a relationship, starting a career, anything, it starts small, and it all starts with a challenge to yourself. To lose that weight, I put in every little challenge that I could, one of which was to mow the lawn, right? Very simple thing. It's not going to help you really lose weight. Everybody mows a fucking lawn. Not like this, they don't. So, what I ended up doing to make it more of a challenge for myself is I got a real lawnmower. Now, like a real, not a real.
R-E-E-L.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
And this came from a discussion he and I had about when I was a kid, we didn't have power lawnmowers. We had to push around this little bladed thing, and he'd never heard of one. And he looked it up online, and he went, I'm going to do that.
Yup, so instead of mowing the lawn normally and getting your average Joe's exercise,
walking around the yard, being drugged by a power lawnmower,
went ahead and bought a real lawnmower, bought a sharpener for it, and for that extended time that I was focused on weight loss, every time I mowed the lawn, I pulled out a real lawnmower. I ran into more interruptions mowing the lawn than I ever had. It was a way bigger pain in the ass, harder to push. You got to sharpen the thing every so often. You don't have to do that with a normal mower.
You got to rake the grass back up because all of it doesn't go in the catcher.
Oh, yeah. See, now that challenge I was starting to get a little pissed off with. I did end up buying a bag for the real mower, which it didn't pick up everything, but it helped a little bit. But sometimes the obstacle is the way. I just referenced a book. If you've read it, awesome. Sometimes the obstacle is the way. So presenting challenges to yourself, feeling good after completing those challenges is instrumental in your goals. I was going to wait until the end of the video to bring up some successes with goals, but because it's already here on the table, I just want to show you guys how significant that one little step can be. I'm going to have it pop up on the screen for you guys right about now. This was me at one of my lowest. I had talked about it in a previous video of being pretty overweight, dealing with some things, and drinking, frankly, way more than anyone should, and really let things go. After putting a lot of these steps that we're talking about here today into effect, this is what happened after. And man, it started small. Buying a real lawnmower, challenging myself,
getting into the weight room every day.
Every day, and that's a really embarrassing thing for me to show you guys. I am, quite frankly, disgusted by that picture that popped up. And it, honestly, I feel vulnerable showing it, but we talked about that in the previous video too. Show the strengths, not the perfection. That was me at one of my lowest. I don't want you guys to see that, but I want you to see what it took and where I am now because of those things. That's what we idolize.
Your life, and we talk about it becoming, you owning it and it becoming who you are. But other things in life, because you can't just look at, my whole life was just going to be about fitness and being in shape. Because there are other obligations, other responsibilities. I have to take care of my house. I have to take care of my yard. I have to sustain my relationships. I have to spend time with friends. who all may not have the same goal in life I have. But it comes to another point that Flux is getting ready to bring up, which is surrounding yourself with people that support your goals and your lifestyle. Very critical to surround yourself with the right people. But my point here being, it's going to go up and down. Had I continued working out 6 days a week, 3.5 hours a day, like I did when I was 28 years old, and never let go of that goal, what would I have missed out on in life? But what would I have gained in what part of my fitness goal is?
Well, that's weighing your options there.
Balance in
it's
life.
Okay, pupper. Well, one thing to bring up too for any of you guys that are currently struggling with bouncing back and forth on goals, with what he had just said, when you go back and forth and when you feel like you failed, then you come back, you get it back, and then you go back again, that time is not wasted. In the examples of fitness that we're talking about, because you can equate this to anything, everything can be viewed as a muscle. So I ask you, the times that you have bounced back, how quickly did you get into the rhythm again? And how great were the results because of your previous attempts?
Well, and there's the thing. You talk about muscle memory. When you jump back into it, and I would caution, don't jump back in expecting to be where you were when you left off. But when you jump back in, you find that your body responds very rapidly. I mean, you look now, yes, I'm a little larger. I'm in one of my off phases and looking to get back into it. And it's something I hope to share with you all, on future videos. Flux has posted his embarrassing picture. Mine is current. But I'm still a pretty thick dude. But I mentioned, I was at 188 pounds. I came out of the Marine Corps weighing 132 pounds.
Oh, wow.
I went through law enforcement for 14 years. And it was only at the end of my career when I really hit the gym that I got above 138 pounds. I went to 188, then 265, down, up, down, up, down. I'm currently at about 240 pounds. That's 100 pounds heavier than when I was in the Marine Corps. But a lot of that is muscle mass. And when I do go back into the gym, I get a fairly quick rebound. And I hope to show that journey to you all in the near future. As we started preparing for this talk, I started referencing some of the old things and became very excited to get back into this and talk about it, because it's something I preached and taught for years. Now, I haven't talked about it in several years, but it came back just like it was yesterday.
Right.
Because it's still cognitive and muscle memory.
You never want to be the smartest person in the room. There's a lot of sayings like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where
if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Exactly. That goes into this company thing. When you're picking your company, pick people that are positive. But not only that, pick people who have what you want.
Absolutely. And I'm not talking monetarily. I'm not talking try to be a leech. I'm talking people who are what you want to be. Successful.
Exactly. That's another really good way to look at it. So with the steps backwards, sometimes people feel, in the diet sense, in any sense, that you reward yourself with cheat days. I've done so well, I deserve a little freedom. I deserve to do the opposite of everything I'm working for.
So what was your real goal?
What was your real goal? If your reward is the behavior that you're trying to get away from,
you've got the wrong goal.
What sense does that even make? So when I'm doing my diets, I'm currently on a diet. I have had cheats in my diet. I've discovered that if I plan them, I plan my failure.
Mm-hmm.
My whole diet becomes about getting to the point where it's okay to fail. What sense does that make that I want to get to a point where I can fuck up? I am working hard just so I can fuck up intentionally.
And that's it. And there's a phrase that goes with that. I mean, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And if your entire plan is based on when I can do something that's counterproductive to my goals or what I'm working for, you've got the wrong plan.
Yeah. And so that's why these days, when I do cheat, it is not a planned thing.
Mm-hmm.
I allow myself, well, I attempt not to allow myself, but sometimes it happens because we're not perfect. But sometimes I allow myself a cheat, but it is not a planned thing. It just happens naturally. I fail naturally. Main point being, don't plan to sabotage yourself. There's no reason to plan your downfall. Why would you plan something like that? You're better than that. You're worth more than that. And it's a lesson that has taken me a long time to learn, but I hope it helps to hear that lesson.
Well, I'm going to throw it out in Marine Corps terms. We had a thing called the 7 Ps. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And the whole time we've been referencing fitness a lot and mentality, but this is everything. You can apply this to any goal. This is not just to lose weight. This is not a lose weight video. I don't know why. It makes no sense. I'll probably edit it out. Just got a flashback to little me getting lessons from you and holding the camera and being like, smile. Oh, man.
That's an inside joke because Padre Havoc does not smile a whole lot.
Yeah, and thinking back now, apparently I like to video things even back then or take pictures. And I guess my way of helping back then was telling people to smile.
At a very young age. 3, 4 years old, carrying around a camera with no film. Smile, smile, smile. Again, it's the reality, folks. I'm at a loss.
Well, while you were doing that, I was writing down my goal, and it's to end the video. Trying to think of the steps.
Okay, well, let's motivate ourselves to end the video. This shit's got to be over. We're out of shit to say.
Yep, we're out of shit to say.
Immediate application. Can we kill this frickin' thing already?
Okay, immediate application. I will start walking towards the laptop.
And that's the stimulus because he's using several of his senses to do this. He's going to shut it off and have a successful experience and take ownership of it. He is utilizing this video for it. And he has done this before, so it's transference all the way, folks.